Hi, team. This is Nolan Myers, CEO of Double GDP, where we're building an end-to-end platform for cities to connect with residents and to help provide more efficient and responsive public services. I'm here with a sprint update for February 19th. And as always, I'm going to go through the goals from our last sprint, progress we've made against those goals with highlights and lowlights, and what we expect to do in next sprint. So we had 4 goals last sprint. We wanted to observe the simplified gate process that we had rolled out and iterate and improve on it. Second, we wanted to implement a feedback loop so that we had some direct interface with the clients and some way of aggregating and hearing back from their experience at the gate. Third, we wanted to explore a CRM backend and understand what kinds of requirements we were going to be needing to build or integrate with for Nkwashi, and with some thought to what other cities might want to do with that same kind of backend. And fourth, we want to focused on recruiting, just getting the next round of candidates into the pipeline. So against those goals, on the simplified gate process, number 1. So this was probably the most involved one that we had for the sprint, and I think that the biggest amount of effort here. We did roll out the sprint process at the gate. We did roll out the simplified gate process, and clients now no longer have to wait. So that's fantastic. So the new process is people come in, they fill out the form or they scan, and if they scan, they can go straight in. If they fill out the form, then the guard makes a decision about whether to let them in or not, and Poniso gets an immediate notification of what decision the guard made. The statistics that we saw in terms of the scan rate are fantastic. It's the highest scan rate we've ever seen. And we had a fairly good flow of people at the gate in the last 2 weeks. We did not get as much qualitative feedback on that specific experience as we had hoped to in this sprint. And that's partly because we got some feedback on from the Nkwashi team that they were hearing from clients some questions that they were not able to answer well. And so we decided to prioritize that a little bit more highly and make sure that we had a well-aligned marketing message that Nkwashi could send to all of their clients, and that we had better coordination on the support in the back end to make sure that when a client asked a question, we were able to connect the dots between our team and theirs and be able to present one unified answer and speak with one voice back to the client. Mutali has a lot more information about this in her update, so I'll leave it to there if you want to look at more. But that was the update for the sprint for the simplified gate process. On the product side, we did roll out a couple of new features, including feedback loops with a thumbs up or thumbs down. So now after a client comes into the gate, they'll either receive a thumbs up or a thumbs down saying, or they'll get the opportunity to give either a thumbs up or a thumbs down saying, here's what my experience was. If they give a thumbs down, they have a chance to give us a little bit more feedback as well. This allows us to start getting our first baseline of in a quantitative way of what the experience of the gate is, not just in terms of the wait time, but in terms of how satisfied people are. We have a few other small features and iterations as well that Olivier pushed out, and I'll let you look at his update for more information there. On the CRM, we had a couple of in-depth interviews with the head of marketing at Nkwashi, and also did a little bit more investigation into the back end that we might need to support if we wanted to work with either HubSpot or Zoho or Salesforce. Based on all of this, we feel like there's two primary options that we want to present moving forward in terms of how to work effectively to make sure that Nkwashi has the best experience. One is that we could actually build something custom for them, or two is that we can integrate with a third-party CRM if they want to go that route. We were exploring the idea of whether we wanted to build on top of an external CRM and make that part of our platform as opposed to just integrating with it. And we've ruled that out based on further investigation. So at this point, we either want to take an integration approach where we'll have some sort of data exchange layer where we can be pushing and pulling information from a system and making sure that stays coordinated with ours, or we will just build directly to the needs that they have and grow our CRM capabilities at the same time as theirs. So we'll present these options in the next sprint and work with Nkwashi to make a decision about what path we want to explore there. On the recruiting front, we do have one exciting candidate for the head of engineering position, and we are moving forward with him judiciously. There were several other clients that, applicants that we decided not to move forward with. And I had last week declared that my goal was to go through the entire queue of applicants, and unfortunately did not get to that. So I apologize to people who are still waiting in the queue. I have realized in this sprint that I think the number of applicants and the amount of work that it takes to go through all of the applications is probably a little bit more than what I'm going to be able to do on my own. And I've started talking with recruiting agencies and some other help that might be able to come in and do first round screening and help go through those in a more judicious way. So I will adjust that approach in our next sprint. So those were the 4 goals that we laid out to do. We also had a few other things that were lesser priorities, but that we did make progress on that I wanted to share in this sprint update. The first and probably most exciting for me is I started working on my presentation for the Charter Cities Conference. So in March, I'll be in Johannesburg to speak there. And this is the background from their website that I'm pleased to be speaking in front of. And in order to start thinking about my presentation, which is going to be on lessons that we can take from the private sector and from technology companies and how we can think about the management of new cities, I started reading this fantastic book called A New City Operating System by Stephen Goldsmith and Neil Kleiman. This has just been a wonderful read. It's a very well-researched and well-exampled book around ways that cities are innovation projects that cities are doing, and the management techniques behind those innovation projects, and also some of the technology and user experience that they're thinking about in doing that. And the central argument for that book is that cities are in need of a new operating system in order to apply new management philosophies and therefore give better service to their residents. Super aligned with what we're working on, and it just makes a very coherent case. I was so excited about this that I actually recorded a few video responses to the individual chapters as I got through them, and thinking about how we can use that for other blog posts or marketing material. And we'll be rolling those out in the next sprint as we figure out exactly how we want to be pushing out content like that. The second thing is Jay has done a lot of great work on the exploration of the space, including looking at some open source partners that we might work with, and published a blog post that helps compare and contrast smart cities and charter cities. A lot more detail there in Jay's update, so I'll refer you to his video for that, but I encourage you to check that out. And finally, last but definitely not least, we're very excited to welcome 2 new team members next week. We have a front-end developer and a customer success manager joining us, both from our partners in Lusaka, the Zig, who have been just wonderful to work with. And I'm very excited because I believe these people will dramatically accelerate our progress, probably not in the next sprint, but certainly thereafter. But we're very much looking forward to helping them come up to speed, welcoming them to the team, getting them the context, and helping them hit the ground running as quickly as we can. So that's the update for this sprint. We have 4 main priorities going into the next sprint. One is to roll out the marketing announcement within Kwashi to their clients and to coordinate our support efforts around that. We really want to be speaking with one voice within Kwashi, and having a high-level marketing message and coordinated support is going to be incredibly important to doing that. I think there's going to be a lot of future suggestions and enhancements that we can work on while we're supporting that process. And I think both of our engineers will be quite busy as we get that feedback and work more closely with the Kwashi team and the support team to do that. Second is onboarding new team members. Nothing more important that we can do than to help them come up to speed quickly, because that's going to be something that really expands our capacity moving forward. Third is recruiting. I both want to be able to make a decision very soon about the candidate that we have in the head of engineering position, and then to be able to accelerate recruiting for whatever other positions we have thereafter, and working with agencies and making sure that we're being a little bit more responsive to people that have applied. And fourth priority is preparing for the conference. It's coming up in less than a month now, and I'm very excited to be in Johannesburg and looking forward to meeting a lot of people there. We're going to put some work into figuring out how to use that time effectively. that's it for this sprint. Thank you very much, and see you in a couple of weeks.